No,
Yeah, it's all that football. Yeah,
I don't even know why. Is it a football thing, Pat?
yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Generally, Scousers and Manx don't have that issue, and it's only realistically in the football community that the issues are like.
Well, that makes sense. I grew up in a Man United household, so.
To be fair, the current mayor of Manchester is a Scouser.
He is, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think people like him.
I can't really. I could only to differentiate like the really different accents. Like I'll be able to I've grew up hearing about like the Cockney accent, and then I think of like the royal posh accents, and in between that I don't
those are the two that you tend to see if you're not from here.
Yeah, those are the two main stereotypes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
to Americans, you're either posh as hell or you're Cockney as hell. There's no in between, according to Americans.
London alone has about 9 different accent types.
I think I can hear maybe 4 London accent types.
Oh my
maybe
God,
5.
Wild. That's a big city. It is a big city, but still, wow.
You think me, Rob, and Rachel are all from different parts of London anyway, so we sound a little bit different in that respect. You got the posh accent, then you've got the other part of London, the other side. So you've got at least 5, but I know there's other types as well.
I think the thing with London though is because each part of London is made up of different types of people. Because East London is traditionally quite poor, and then West London is traditionally quite affluent. So the kinds of people that you find in those different parts of London are just they're just from completely different backgrounds.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it makes sense. The circles you run in would really hugely affect your accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Yeah, you guys all sound you don't sound like either extreme to me, obviously, but yeah.
It's kind of diluted now, to be honest. I think down south you don't really tend to hear massive changes in accent now.
No.
If you met someone from Brighton, you could quite easily think they're from London.
I think it's the same accent as in London.
Yeah. It's pretty, yeah.
I feel like there's a generic South accent, but there's not a generic Northerner accent.
Yeah, the North's weird, man. It's just it's the difference in accent as well. Because I know you were talking about it earlier, but if you think about how close Liverpool and Manchester are geographically, it's why do you sound so different?
Once I was in the traffic. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say because then you go a little bit further and you're in Wales, and that's another completely different accent. And if you go a little bit further the other way, you're in Leeds, and that's a completely different accent. It just makes no sense.
Yeah. Leeds and Manchester is another really funny one. But I always tell the story of how once I was in the Trafford Centre and I was in the O2 shop or something, and I was just in line, and there were these girls in front of me in school uniform, and they were speaking, and I was like, what? I wonder what language that is, because I'm getting the odd English word. I can't work out what it is. And then after a while, I realised that they were just Scouse schoolgirls in their school uniform. And I was just stood there what are they? What language is this? And I realised they're just speaking English, but an accent that's 50 miles away from us. Not even that. I don't think. Probably 20.
Yeah. You know the comedian from Liverpool, John Bishop.
Oh, yeah.
He tells this story of when he was in America, and he was under the impression that everyone knew he was English, and he was talking to this soldier, and then the soldier was like, "Just to let you know, sir, we're completely behind you and Zelensky."
Because they've got no clue. That's quite funny.
Zelensky.
Yeah, they thought he was Ukrainian.
They thought he was Ukrainian.
That's kind of wild.
Well, that's funny. like Eastern Canada has like that's where the accent to me starts to get really different, like West versus East. And I've realized that, like, we've talked a bit before, like I think like a lot of like Irish, you know how like the groups that immigrated over, they like concentrate in areas. I think like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ireland had a heavy influence in like the Eastern Canadian accent, the more I hear Irish people speak.
Yeah.
Because that's what people say about the more like East Coast American accent in it, is that comes from rich English people moving over, and if they hadn't have moved over, then that's what rich English people would probably still talk like.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. That's
Oh, which one?
The like East Coast American accent.
Like New York.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a wild because they completely like they drop the R's, like you guys don't do hard R, you soften the R, and they do the same thing. So that's pretty interesting.
I think once you know the connections and you can listen out for it, like some of them are quite obvious. Like the Liverpudlian accent. Once you know a lot of it is influenced by the Irish accent, it's like, oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah. And the fact that there were so many sailors, they were it was a port city, and people traveling from here, there, and everywhere. And
yeah,
Liverpool's history is really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
The Southern American accent, like, actually, this is a big topic. Like, it could be a whole lot of influences, but just like there was a French, like Louisiana had like French, like a lot of French influence too, right?
Yeah.
But from the Arcadia, and so there's kind of like they slowly moved downwards with like the rivers, so that's where you get like that the Bayou accent. I get told it's from. I don't know if that's like a proper term for that, but like I've seen it in like a lot of TV shows where they talk about crawfish, and I'm like, oh yeah.
I've never had crawfish. I would love to though. Like one of those big like crawfish boils, like with the potatoes and corn and.
Oh yeah, I really want to make a seafood boil.
Yeah.
I have. It's actually quite harder than I expected it to be. It's quite hard to get all. You have to get all like the different types of seafoods and stuff. Like, who was I talking to? Where like if you guys would go to like the Angry Crab Shack to try a seafood boil for someone's birthday, I think like it wouldn't be too bad.
There was a place somewhere, I can't remember who it was, but somebody, it might have been just some bloke in his kitchen actually, I don't know, but somebody started doing seafood boils on like Uber Eats and stuff in London, but I can't remember who he was or where.
I gotta start looking up what's good to eat when I get there compared to like what I can't get here. I'm excited. There's probably a lot of overlap because we're both coastal.
Are you coming to the UK?
Yeah.
Oh, when?
Yeah, June 17th. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Exciting.
I know. I'm so excited. I've never been. Yay.
Is this going to be your longest flight?
Yeah, longest flight by far.
How long is the flight?
Thankfully I got direct, but it's like a little over 9 hours.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah, it could be.
That's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But it's like it's doable.
It's the first time I've had to worry like where to sit, how far, like do I want aisle or do I want window? It's just like I want to be close to a bathroom. It's like I have to worry about that.
Yeah.
And not to be too close either. I don't want to be too close.
How do you know? So like I was like literally right next to the toilet on the way back from Grenada, and I thought it was all right.
Oh, was it?
Oh, until the guy put his hand on his head and started blessing him.
Oh, well.
That's the whole story, isn't it?
That's an occupational hazard, but that's a problem that comes with having a bald head because you just look like
Before, after he went to the bathroom. Did he wash his hands? That's the
I get it, to be fair, because if the lights are off and you just see like a blank pale patch, you just think it's the thing on the back of the seat. So, maybe if I had hair, it would have been different. I don't know.
Oh
I could just imagine he just reaches and just as he touches your head, a halo just starts appears. It's like, oh wait, whoops.
But that was the thing. So like, I woke up and like looked at him, and then I guess because I fidgeted and he expected me to be a chair, he was like, "Oh God, sorry." And it was just imagining how embarrassed he must have been that I found really funny.
Shock. Do you imagine the shock you would feel? Like you're expecting to feel like cold upholstery, but then you're like, oh, this is warm skin.
This is warm and prickly.
that was scary. Okay, but I suppose we should get ourselves started. I think everybody's here who is coming here. Oh, Camilla, can you hear us still?
She's coming back, but you can start.
Okay.
And we'll talk more about accents very, very soon.
Yeah. But like, without Ryan Gosling and his not really got a. Well, I mean, he's from Canada. He doesn't got a Canadian accent. Oh, but so we should start with Corey. Why did you choose this film?
Speaking of Canada and accents, and I was reminded that Ryan Gosling is Canadian. He was born in London, Ontario. Interestingly enough, and while I remember, so I think I'm already deviating from why I picked the film, but Ryan Gosling is in it, so this is close enough. But he taught me that I was here on the West Coast, we pronounce poutine differently, and not the original intended way. It sounds more like poutine, because that's the French Canadian pronunciation.
Oh no, not Vladimir Putin.
I know.
Can't call it that.
I thought about the same joke. I just didn't say it.
But the delicious fry and gravy cheese dish was here before that guy, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be here long after he's gone too.
Yes. Thankfully. That's delicious. I highly recommend if anybody can get their hands on that. You guys have it over there, right?
Not really. I had an idea. Not an idea once, but I really wanted.
Some restaurants do it.
Yeah, I really wanted to open a poutine place because it's something that you can't really get.
Oh, I think that'd be a winner. But it's like cheese and it's a really mild cheese flavor, and it's it gets all melty. It's delicious. So, and you guys have good chips, of course. So part of a lot of why I mentioned this briefly last week. I had a hard time picking what movie I wanted to do this time around because I did feel like I wanted to do something a bit more in depth and artful and complex. But a lot of my the things that I have like that are kind of more on the heavy side, and I wanted to lean away from that because with honestly just to briefly touch on it, what's going on politically, there's a country below me that is up to quite a lot, and it's on my mind often, and I needed something to kind of buoy my spirits, lift me up, kind of take my mind off things. And I also thought it was just a fun coincidence that this movie that I had on my list, this one had Ryan Gosling, and he's Canadian, and us Canadians are kind of feeling more neighborly towards each other these days. Not that we weren't before, but I've just never been a whole nationalist, go Canada kind of person until recently, really. So yeah, props to, and I really and what I had seen this I only had a vague recollection when I first watched this, but I do remember Ryan Gosling had made such a solid, good impression on me. He is what really drew me into enjoying this movie. So and that's largely why I picked it, and I was looking forward to watching it again. This time around, I did as usual. I watched it with a different set of eyes, and I watched it more critically. And in terms of just like a piece of work, like this movie, yeah, it's not that serious. It's a comedy, it's an action, but I think it still did a lot of things well. I particularly enjoyed the acting. Obviously Ryan Gosling. And comedy is very subjective, but I also believe that there are some people that are just like widely appreciated for like comedic skill, and I think that comedic acting skill is like one of the more difficult ones. Like if you could like make a lot of people laugh, I think that's like a huge challenge. And speaking on that, I think you often see like strong like comedians eventually become like fantastic like dramatic actors, and which is interesting. uh but yeah, I think Ryan Gosling in this movie, like he made me laugh multiple times. um and those will come up in my favorite scenes later. But yeah, and that's another thing, making me laugh. Like I love to laugh. That's another reason why like a lot of my movies are just like more on the lighter side anyway. I just I enjoy the lighter side of things if I could get to it. Um yeah, so and outside of that, yeah. Uh, the story, yeah, it's like it definitely has this like like I said, it's a lighter movie, and so like the story wasn't the like huge selling point for me, though I do love a mystery unfolding. So, that in itself as a feature was very entertaining for me. Um, but and I did like, oh, and what also I liked is like earlier, not too far into the movie, I start to connect to the characters and appreciate like their nuances. Like they're very like they're obviously flawed, but you start to pick up how they have like wholesome, like heartwarming, like integrity and empathy. You see that with Russell Crowe, and he's like cares about his fish. I'm like, I was so sad for the fish coming out of his tank, and he cares about the fish too. I'm like, okay, these are cool people. I'm with these people, and I'm interested to see where this goes. So, and oh, and lastly on the acting, I could be iffy on child actors. I've already mentioned before, but I thought this child actor was great, and she did a
Yeah.
great job. Yeah, impressive. I'm always like especially impressed by good child actors. And I think I recognize her from like I'm pretty sure I want to say Spider Man at least, one of the newer Spider.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's in the recent ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which with Spider Man? I forgot.
All of them, all the Tom Holland ones.
The Tom
Yeah, she's
Holland ones.
like, yeah, she's the school announcer, I think.
Right. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, it's good to see. I'm glad yeah, clearly I understand why she's still getting lots of work because she's great. But yeah, I think I've touched on mostly why I picked this and why I enjoyed it, and yeah, I hope some of you enjoyed it too. And I look forward to hearing what you thought. But yeah, that's it for me. All our scores are like really hovering around a similar point, so I think this time we don't really especially need to do descending order or anything like that.
Okay, I'll go first then. So, very interesting movie. Wasn't quite sure where the story was going to go for because like it started off very well. He literally beats up the other lead actor, so I wasn't quite sure what I was going for. I thought there would be more rivals than buddy cop film, but it got to buddy cop film eventually. I was like, oh, it's interesting. It's the story progressed in a way that it was like, oh, okay, a lot of like actions and reactions to each scene, and then afterwards it's just like Ryan Gosling I don't know how to explain it without making it sound like I'm pulling something out. Okay, let me do it this way. I compare a lot of movies to other things all the time. I get told off for it all the time, or I get moaned at it all the time. And I apologize. I'm gonna have to do it again. So Ryan Gosling and with his daughter was very much like. It felt very like he Mr. Magoo'd it and like Inspector Gadgeted it, and then afterwards his daughter was Penny, his Inspector Gadget's niece, who was somewhat more competent than Inspector Gadget. So like because Ryan Gosling just literally fell into like the correct places, literally, and I mean that by literally, right? He fell in the right place at the right time. So and he somehow completed his like job and his mission, and it became like, oh, I don't know if that's like the point, but he's just really, really lucky, and he has a very competent niece daughter with him. But it's like, yeah, it just reminds me of Inspector Gadget, and it was like, okay, I think I see the more comedy parts of it now, and especially with the like straight man of like Russell Crowe going, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's just like, yeah, it's like, were you drinking? And did you fall again? And it's like, yeah, he's so angry and grumpy. It suits him, especially because it's Russell Crowe, right? The acting, I really do like how, as you said, the actress, the young actress who was playing Ryan Gosling's daughter, did very well for being a 13-year-old kid and doing like all the sort of like silly stuff that a 13-year-old kid would do. But it's like, generally speaking, yeah, it's all very well made, very decently funny stuff. There's certain parts that I thought were portrayed oddly because of like how the character was, but like those are like some nitpicks that I have with like certain like. Because he's not here, I can't say contrivances. I feel like it could be contrivances, but it's just like those are like little things that I took away for like some of like story score. But like we'll get into that afterwards. We'll let everyone else go have a quick go.
In terms of what you were saying, like story things, overall, as my score showed, the acting was good. In that, I think for me, saved it. I still don't like. There was lots of things that annoyed me. In the film, around this how it was written. I think there was lots of things that felt like it wasn't completely like they didn't like curl all the way over. They didn't kind of finish writing it, or they kind of took shortcuts. And it's just like, I'm not expecting anything serious, but still, some of these things don't make sense. But I think they all acted it very well. And it was fun to see most of it, even if some of the people or some of the things were annoying. It was fun to see those two acting together. Those three acting together. Hmm?
That's you. Someone?
Someone sneezed.
Yeah.
Cheers, thank you.
But yeah, that's what I had to say about it. It was, yeah, it was fun seeing those three act together. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, we landed fairly similarly, Emmanuel. And I forgot to say for Simon, before I forget, you mentioned him being kind of like Inspector Gadget and kind of like incompetent and doofusy and just like lucking out, and he definitely had that angle. But what I did pick up throughout the movie is that a few times he proved them wrong, and he actually did show some like good detective skill.
Okay. Yeah, but like if you go, sorry, without going back into that, but even Inspector Gadget did make occasional things, but he had to get pushed. Yeah, even in an old cartoon, he helicopters himself into a situation where he goes, "Oh, wait, I just happened to pick up the right piece of evidence. That I've got a clue," and it's just that's kind of.
He had like actual moments where he did some complex thinking and did he accidentally find the projector in the house, Misty's house?
No, I'll give you that. He actually looked for the projector. I'll give you that. Yeah.
But where he did he sounded like he really knew what he was doing when he figured out it was an apartment building, and then they went to the apartment building, and then it was gone. And then they lucked out and found that hotel. So yeah, that was luck.
That whole bit felt like a bit of a bluff. He didn't quite know what he was saying there. It just happened to work.
It really sounded. I believed him. I thought he had something. Yeah. Who next?
I'll go next. I really enjoyed this film. I had a great time watching it. Had a few laughs. It was good. I definitely agree that the acting saved it, because I think if the actors were a bit iffy, I don't think it would have worked as well. Especially the daughter, that actress was brilliant. And I think she kind of helped make it work, because a lot of the characters are silly and kind of annoyingly silly. Even, what was she called? The girl that everyone's looking for. Amelia, that's it. She really, really, it was so dumb. And yeah, I just kind of felt like there was a lot of silliness. So the kind of caliber that the lead actors brought really helped pull it together. I really enjoyed that it had, at the party, they had Earth, Wind and Fire playing, and they played my birthday song, which I was very excited about. Always love hearing September when it's not September. Don't play it in September though. So yeah, that was good fun. And I think the story, it reminded me of what Ben said earlier today about Mickey 17, that there's a lot of different strings of story, but this film didn't pull them all together. That I just feel like there was so many places for it to go, and it just didn't go where I was expecting it to. And I was a bit unsatisfied, not at the ending, but out of and I think were as well. For Kim Basinger's character, how that all worked out, it was just a bit unsatisfying / felt a tiny bit unfinished in some ways. But otherwise, I really enjoyed it. It was fun to watch, even though it wasn't, fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a good, solid, enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
And with regards to the ending, where I land on feeling about that is I actually appreciate, even though it is not very satisfying and kind of just it just ends with a slump over, but that also rang so authentic to me, that in this big epic journey to do the right thing, and they seemingly have it in the bag, but then the system and politics and it turns out they couldn't make that big of a difference.
Yeah,
felt really realistic, although really lackluster. But
yeah. With me, my issue with the end wasn't necessarily how it ended. I was fine with kind of how it ended. It was more some of the script from the district attorney, whatever.
Yeah,
the mom's
Kim Basinger.
yeah, her script in her last lines and stuff is just like, did they finish this?
Yeah.
I was just like, what are these lines? Did we miss a scene? Was something cut out? Because this is not making sense. Like, I feel like,
Yeah, I felt like some of the lines were definitely like also like a bit like basic, like not really like too a bit straightforward. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting film to talk about. Whether or not it's a good thing that we all sort of have the same sort of opinion or not, is I don't know. It's not a detriment to the film at all. It shows you just like it's just a really good, solid movie because it doesn't do anything really bad and it doesn't do anything drastically incredible, making it like a masterpiece. But I do have a lot of fondness for this movie, and I do love the style and Shane Black as a director and writer, especially. Like sometimes he can miss, and sometimes he can miss quite hard. But when he does, when he does do a good job, I do appreciate his style. And when I spoke to my dad about it after we saw it, it's like, yeah, it's pretty like a mixture of Quentin Tarantino and Paul Thomas Anderson. It's that like middle ground of kind of like a bit quirky, but also a bit introspective as well, and a bit over the top and silly and kind of like violent and full of like humor. But the balance is quite treaded quite carefully, I think. And it's like, yeah, he's kind of owes a lot to Tarantino, especially. But the fact that he's kind of been going as long as Tarantino, if not before, because the first Lethal Weapon film came out around the same time, if not a couple of years before Reservoir Dogs. So they kind of had this interesting parallel of this type of like buddy cop kind of action dramas with a lot of like violence, but like comedy thrown in too. And there's just how they flavour the films is quite distinct and very tonally similar. But it is distinctly more Shane Black because of how he likes to kind of like flip things a bit and be a bit he doesn't want to do the most conventional his storytelling is not the most conventional, like you guys said about the ending. It does not end the way you think it would, or the resolutions are not quite tightly perfectly done in a bow kind of thing. It's a bit like, oh crap, yeah, the girl died, it didn't go the way they wanted, bad things happened, people shot in the crossfire, blah blah blah. They sacrificed a lot, but at the end of the day, it still manages to have a resolution, but in a way that you don't expect it to. Like the whole point of the story isn't necessarily about the MacGuffin, as you might say. It's more about the connections they have as both the family and friends, like Gosling and Crow's character's friendship, and Gosling and his daughter. That's the main connection that was worth progressing, and the unexpected happens when they form that bond, or that the two of them decide to start off a new business together. And I thought that was quite a nice little touch because it ended a way that you wouldn't expect in that regard. A little really subtle touch of like, yeah, let's keep things going, etc. So yeah, it is a fun and unusual film, and it does have a lot of, like you guys said, forcedness and contrivances and very convenient plot points, but obviously most of it is deliberate. And I think when Shane Black writes something like this, he knows damn full well that, yeah, this is stupid and this is never going to happen in real life, but the characters, the way they're acting it, kind of give you a pass on that, because they kind of are. It's not so much a wink to the camera thing, but they kind of are in on the joke as well. They're like, yeah, this is stupid, but okay, I'm just going to go with it. I think if they played it so straight, it wouldn't work, because then you'd be like, yeah, this doesn't work because this is too convenient. This is too contrived. But the fact that sly tongue-in-cheek humor sold it to me. I think that's the only way that they can get away with doing these sort of like absurd moments of like Gosling just swimming in the pool with after the mermaids, and then him falling backwards down the side of down the hill, and all the stuff with like the film reel, and yeah, all crazy things that would never happen. Even at the beginning when the porn star literally, what's her name, Misty Mountains, is sprayed open on top of the rock, like she's on the cover of the magazine, just like it was for that kid. That is just so like what? But it just that painted the picture for what kind of film it was to come. Just the first 5 minutes, just the absolute insanity. It was like, yeah, this is it's a pulp kind of story, kind of like Pulp Fiction. It's just, it knows it's not real. It's heightened reality, and it's heightened because of how it's played for just not just for shock value but for humor as well. So yeah, that's I do appreciate its absurdity, but yeah, and it still manages to kind of be grounded enough to kind of make you go with the characters and understand their arcs and be sympathetic and quite engaged and engaged with the story and the mystery itself, as all good buddy cop films should do. Is that it's just kind of like a crime and something that you have to solve along with the characters, and if that's not compelling then the film's failed. But I feel this film did the job well.
Because it's in the 70s, it did have like that sort of like Boogie Nights opening feel, and I was like, because things happen in this particular film, and like,
yeah, maybe
it's just because of the time period. It just feels a bit. Certain things feel a bit off, but I feel like it's like no, maybe it's just like because it's the time period. It's like it just feels right for this particular time period. Yeah.
It's a bit of grace period. It's like a little bit of benefit of the doubt because it's almost fairy tale-ish in the sense that this could have happened, maybe not in the exact sort of way. It's a bit like just a story told by someone else, and this is the interpretation of that. So yeah, the fact it's set in the past gives it a lot of leeway to be a bit batshit, practically. And if it was at a modern day setting, it would be more dated, in my opinion, because it's kind of like you're comparing it to what happened when they made this film. It's set during the time it's made. It's kind of like, yeah, you're going to have to be very strict for the rules of how things are modern day. But you can sort of have a little bit of lenience when it's set 30, 40 years in the past and kind of be like, yeah, this is how we remembered the 70s. It wasn't exactly like this, but this is how we imagined it. Yeah.
Especially with the chocolate milk Yoo-hoo. I don't know if that's like still a brand. I wonder if that's been discontinued or no. It still exists. Okay, cool.
Around. Well, it's not here, but I've seen it being drank. Well, this is on TV though, in The Big Bang Theory.
I can't, because like I see it. There's quite a decent amount, like again, product placement that's in this film. I'm like, I kind of want to try what a Yoo-hoo. It's mainly because of what you. So I think it was earlier today. So Sam showed us like the ice creams from like Reese's and Nutella, and I'm like, I kind of want to try a Yoo-hoo, and I was like, I kind of want to try like ice cream stuff. I was just like, I just haven't had time to try them. So it's like product placement has been in my brain currently because again, maybe it's like because again of the time period, like you saw like big posters of like Felix the cat or something because like, oh yeah, it's like, yeah, because it makes sense of time period, like brand and the and the weird like posters for like the pornographic like director who was like Pornocchio. I don't know. I didn't bother to stop on the pun, right? But I
it's not his nose that grows.
Yeah, that was the joke. That was I was like, oh, okay.
He's made of wood. Sorry.
Yeah, it was like it was like one of those stupid jokes that just flashed on the screen for a second. I was like, I saw that. I know I saw that, but I was just like, I don't know how to explain the joke.
Yoo-hoo always looked kind of yucky to me. It looks like watered down like chocolate milk. It looks very watery, but yeah, you do become curious about these things once you see them a certain amount of times. And they do come up. But one thing that I was reminded, Ben, when you mentioned the like opening scene which was like ridiculous, over the top. I'm like, wow, okay, we're really starting off with a bang. I see. But you know what was so wholesome and lovely, and I realize is like a theme in the characters in this movie, which I love, is like, we start off seeing the boy, he's being naughty, he's sneaking and getting a magazine he really shouldn't be having. But then we see this awesome side of him where he takes off his own shirt and he covers her. Like, I thought, like, that's just like, that's what this movie is seemingly like a big theme is like, people are
Yeah.
flawed, but they could still have really good cores.
He was being a gentleman, and he was being a nice guy. Sorry. I just needed. I haven't got my shades. Yeah, never mind. We'll edit that music in afterwards. Don't worry. Yeah. They know what's happening. It's fine. No, not that one. We gotta do the CSI Miami. We need the Horatio Kane one. Yeah. You guys know what it is.
Yes.
I haven't done a pun for ages.
Is that the meme where they got the like cool guy sunglasses from?
That's one of them, yes. But like that's one of the things that I used to do for the. It's a long story. Don't worry. I mean, if you watch the Bar versus Python one, you understand completely.
Oh, I haven't.
It's a whole story.
Oh, no, not that film. Jeez.
Okay, so I think so some of us still haven't done opening yet. If there's anybody.
No, I'll do mine now. So, Shane Black is someone that I've liked for a while, and I think this film sort of has shades of a lot of his other works. So, like, I've got a list of stuff that he's done. Like, he hasn't directed that many. We won't talk about the last one so much, but like the comedy elements of Iron Man 3, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is probably my favourite film of his, like in terms of directing. And then you've got other ones like Lethal Weapon, the first two, Last Boy Scout, Last Action Hero, and he obviously wrote Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Iron Man 3. So you're seeing like a trend in terms of his style of films.
Yeah, just to interrupt, you usually look to have a film with a kid in it, or being it set at Christmas. One of the two, or sometimes both.
Yeah. But he's quite an underrated writer director, I think. If you take out the last Predator film, which was an absolute mess, he's very good. I'd say his comedy is much more subtle than a lot of directors that do action as well. And his action sets are pretty over the top, but not over the top that you'd be like, well, this is a bit too silly. And generally his films are a lot of fun to watch. It also comes down to the characters in his films are always quite likable, and I think that's the case in this one. Like Mr. Canada there was quite goofy, but you always pull for him, whereas Russell Crowe plays a character that you'd always expect him to play. He was much more the straight guy, but he was also pretty funny at the same time. Story was basic, really. It was more about the characters and the action and the comedy for the most part. But yeah, I just loved the sort of wacky nature of it. It didn't really need to take any risks. The film knew what it tried to set out to be from the start, and I think it hit all those notches. Yeah, I had a great time watching it.
Awesome. I haven't seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Is that with Robert Downey Jr.?
That's right. That is Robert Downey.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
I think Val Kilmer as well. Maybe I think it's someone else.
Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, Michelle Monaghan, and some other people.
It's been a long time for me. There's the original Predator, which and apparently Shane Black was acting in that one.
Yeah, he was one of the guys in the beginning.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
he was acting before he was writing, basically.
Okay.
I think he took a lot of inspiration from that as well, like from being in it. And I'd imagine someone who's written a lot of scripts and then directing films, he probably worked close with the director just to see how they go about it. And I think he's probably taken experience on for the films that he's made himself.
Yeah, it's not a very uncommon career path, right? I think there's a handful of actors turned directors, maybe, right? Yeah.
It's quite a few.
Ben Affleck, for example.
Ben Affleck, yeah. He's a famous one.
Angelina Jolie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Angelina Jolie.
Who?
That's pretty Jolie.
Oh, I didn't know.
And obviously Clint Eastwood, he's probably the biggest one because he acted for years before he did his first film.
Yeah.
That man is ridiculous. He's in his mid-90s and still making films.
Exactly. It was like he was acting for 20 years straight, and then he directed, and then he's been directing for 60 years straight on top of that. And it's like, Jesus, his credits are 200 plus now. And he's still going.
That's actually a kind of a niche that I should look into, because I always particularly appreciate really good acting. I think it's such an incredible skill. While I'm saying that, I forgot to say that the fact that this is such a silly, outlandish movie, and yeah, we did get some really grounded authenticity from the good acting. That really connects you. The purpose and impact of acting is just so fantastic. So what I was going to say before I derailed a little bit is yeah, I'd be more interested to watch more movies directed by directors who started off acting, because I think that's a really cool progression of a career.
Could be a special round.
Could be.
Yeah. That's a good one.
2026 is no wait. What year is it now?
2025.
2026 next year.
Yeah.
My brain was like, wait, what year is this? Is it 1994? I know. Is it still the 90s?
I don't know. I still always say 10 years ago, meaning the 90s. And my sister was born in 2004, and I'll be like, oh, this was 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. It's when you were a baby. And she's like, I'm nearly 21. And confuses my brain.
Quite depressing, ain't it? So I'm born in 1989. It wasn't that long ago. Pat, you're nearly 40. Oh,
so when people go, oh yeah, 50 years ago it was the 80s. I'm like, 40 years ago it was the 80s. I'm like, sorry, what are you talking about? What do you mean? 40 years ago was the 60s.
Oh my god.
Well, it's gotten to a point now where when we were out today, any time I was making a point, I was like, back in the day. And I'm like, who am I?
Back in my day.
Yeah, and the fact that we can say now, oh, this happened decades ago, and we remember it. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Weird.
Yeah, Corey, did you have Capri Sun in Canada?
Yeah.
Oh, where we went today, they were charging one Capri Sun. What was it? £4.50 or something?
For a Capri Sun?
Yeah.
Yeah. You should have seen my reaction. It made Sam laugh. But Ben was holding the menu up, and I was just sat back chilling. And then all of a sudden, I caught an eye at Capri Sun. I was like, "How much?"
Sick. Was that the cinema?
No,
that was the restaurant.
The restaurant had Capri Sun?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's fun.
I didn't notice
Like
that.
my mum used to buy a pack of 20 when I was a kid for like £4. So seeing one for £3.50 is like, oh my goodness.
For heaven's sakes. Outrageous. I was always scared to open those. You know, you have to be really...
with straw? Or?
Yeah, because you have to like stab the bag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think they're not that way anymore. They've got like a little cap at the top.
Yeah, they're kind of like a smoothie kind of thing, where you've got a cap that's on the top and middle that you have to twist off.
Oh, so you don't have to like poke a
No way.
straw anymore?
No, it's all a cap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not know that.
Do you
Yeah,
guys,
it's been like that for a while.
do you guys have bubble tea there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every second shop in Ilford is a bubble tea shop at this point.
Yeah,
Ivan, you're muted.
Why are there so many? And they all look terrible.
Oh, because I know this reason for a fact, because the barrier to entry for bubble tea is incredibly low. And the amount of product you can get for a small amount of money is also incredibly low. The cost effectiveness of it is so bizarre
Really?
that, I mean, I shouldn't say what let's say it like this. If I needed to be evil and start world domination on destroying the bubble tea market, there is an effective way for me to do so. And I'll end that conversation there.
Oh wow! So you can give that information to a political leader, and then they'll just literally level the playing field.
Maybe
there's
you can tell us.
Yeah, sure. Actually, yeah, there is actually it's actually a very simple way to destroy the bubble tea market. But we'll end it there for now. It's going to be the same conversation I had with guys a long time ago. Century. It's going to get me very heated. In any case,
it's been the reference that.
In any case, back to this film. So, I feel like I know the Harvey Blueface guy. I don't know what I don't know actually. His name is actually Blueface. I think that's what it said on the subtitles. But I called him like Harvey Dent, but he's like Harvey Two-Face, Harvey Blueface. So like Harvey Blueface. I feel like I know that actor from somewhere. I just don't know where, because like.
Yeah, he did seem familiar too. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you have Keith David. Fucking awesome. Keith David is in a lot of stuff nowadays, and it's like just I mean, mainly because you can hear Keith David's voice, and
I know his voice.
Yeah, I know you from everything, and it's just like So it's like it's also
he was Goliath in the Gargoyles, right?
Yes, actually, yeah, that is true, right? Yeah, because he's the biggest. Yeah, he's the big guy. Yeah, he's the main guy. Yeah. Wow, that is a cool back.
Yeah, that's really I am like just like yeah. That is in the corner of the back of my brain. I am barely what Gargoyles is.
Yeah, Gargoyles was great. I love that show.
I've seen that.
Keith David, he's the guy that said he was going to Michigan and he didn't go to Michigan.
Yeah. I didn't understand that. It's like I feel like he
trading, and then like there was an opportunity for them to circle back to that, for them to run into each other and be like, "You're supposed to be in Michigan," something like that. I just lucky how he just lied and then
missed opportunity.
There's other things because like because he met Ryan Gosling's character, it'll be like it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean like. It could have been a whole joke about I'm back from Michigan, and it could have been like a whole but it's like again. It's just little. Again, I think it's just little nitpicks and go, oh, they could have done it differently. But yeah, it still works. Like, I feel like it's just a thing for like Russell Crowe's character that he would have killed more people, I guess, because like he usually killed Blueface. He just goes like, took him out, and that's like, yeah, it's like he died. It's like he would have like shot Keith David's character at least, just to like he would have double tapped it just to like make sure he's dead. But I was like, maybe not. It's it feels a bit flimsy on him not like committing to his job.
Yeah, it was a bit too waffly, like his arc on like whether he's gonna kill people or not, like because the most significant time he didn't kill somebody, like that was largely affected by the girl watching right that moment.
Okay,
so that takes away from the significance to me, because like of course if she's watching it's gonna be much harder for him to do it. And yeah, I didn't like he straight up lied to her about what did he lie about?
Because he choked out Blueface, man, and he's
like, oh, he didn't make it.
And
wait, doesn't she ask?
Yeah.
Yeah, she asked.
She directly asks.
And he like straight out lies to her, and I thought that he would like come clean to it eventually, but he didn't.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Yeah, it's just it did suit his character completely. If I don't know, it just felt again just a little bit of a missed opportunity for him just to go. It's the type of person I am, but it's just like yeah.
There was. I wish we got to actually understand, like, got to have any backstory from him, like, or properly. Like, we get the sense that, okay, so when he did that diner thing, that's one of the first times he felt useful. And then maybe from then he went like more all in on like this whole kind of thing that he does now. But it's just like, would have liked to know a little bit more. That they teased a lot of possible, like a lot of kind of backstory things, and then did the thing where they don't say.
Wait, are you sure you did? Wait, did you miss the part where his wife was cheating on him with his dad?
What?
Did you not see that part? Oh, it's like
no, we saw that.
Yeah, but like that explains his character.
Like some random cutaway scene. Oh, yeah, I'm sleeping with your father or whatever. It's like okay, but we don't understand why that's the first time he apparently felt useful. We know nothing about his life before besides he was cheated on.
Yeah, but like that's his character arc. He was like in such a like what I understood of it is that he was in such a shit place because he had I guess he had a slightly more normal job, and he was in a shit place. Then afterwards, he's living by himself in that weird like nightclubish place, but not really a nightclub place. And afterwards, he's like living there in his life and like going through life. Then the diner scene happened, and he's like, yeah, actually, I have the rush. I feel like I'm useful again. I feel like I feel like I have like control and like power in my brass knuckles. So that's like how he lived his life for a while. It's just like from what I said, it's like, oh, that's his character. It was a very short like blip blop. I was like, shit happens. I did something else. Now I feel like a character again. That's kind of like how I saw it, at least.
Yeah, and that is how it's portrayed and done. But from a writing point of view, it feels like you don't need to care about anything else about him. I was just like, well, no, just a little bit more. Like, and there's a lot of little things like that where it's like if they put either a little more here or did something slightly differently, then it'd be fine. But because it wasn't important to the director, it's just like, yeah, we don't need to have that in there. So it's that.
for like and Ryan Gosling as well. Like I'm not seeing there wasn't very much of a like nuanced like in-depth arc for any character. And
Was
especially what bothers me is like because like what's brought up as a point in the past is that their house burnt down because he neglected to look into a very serious problem. And I don't think that nose thing is a good excuse. If your family's telling
No, it's
you
not.
there's a problem
Yeah,
with gas, you look into it. That really bugged me how that wasn't really addressed again later.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I got the impression that all of that stuff was kind of like part of a sort of like an homage to like the old pulp stuff. Because like if you look at the old sort of the old comics that things like Pulp Fiction were based on and that kind of thing, like it's always a bit of like a tongue in cheek thing that somebody can have like these really awful things happen, but they just don't give a shit. Like it's like I'm trying to think of an example. Do you know what? Like Georgia the Jungle kind of like played on it as well, where it's this idea that like somebody's kind of like their character is the thing that's important to the story, and it's sort of like an inside joke that they're not complex. So I thought it was kind of riffing on that.
I mean, there's also like technically he's just a depressed dude anyway, so it's kind of like that's the biggest like thing because like the first time you see him, he's in his full suit in the bathtub, and I like when I saw that I was like, huh, mood. I was like, yeah, because like then afterwards it got even more like, oh, okay, I've had those days where he looks at his like weird like tattoo on his hand, it's like you'll never be happy. And it's just like, oh yeah, I've been in that mood before. Yeah. I understand this character. He's just like a guy who's just like fucking depressed, and he's just like, oh, but I still got to go to work. Fuck. Okay, and it's just like, yeah, makes sense. So it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like his mood is just like depression, but I need to continue life because I need to take care of my daughter, even though I'm like a terrible person and my daughter is actually kind of pretty much taking care of me. I was like, oh yeah, that's his. I feel like that was his complete character, and I was like, I mean, like he got better at the end because he is going through the stuff, but like it's a very like it wasn't like a character arc. It was like a character step. That's like I guess that's the best way. It's like, oh yeah, he had a step in character. It didn't have an arc.
I think that's the thing. Like, I don't think it's like I don't know if it's supposed to be a character as much as it's supposed to be like a reference to like a running joke that you see in this kind of thing. Like, I suppose an example of it is in Iron Man 3. So when you've got what's his name? The character that Ben Kingsley plays. I don't know. I can't remember his name. But like the whole idea of the character is that he's like.
Oh, you mean the Mandarin?
Sorry?
The Mandarin?
Yeah,
He's supposed to be the Mandarin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the whole thing in that was like the rug pull that the Mandarin wasn't the Mandarin, right? So it was that he was an actor who was playing this terrorist. And so like an example of the joke that I'm talking about is like when sort of like everything's going off around him and there's all these like really serious things happening and he's just like nonchalantly sat in the middle and they're like, are you all right? And he's like, well, I panicked and then I handled it. Like it's sort of that sort of thing. Like it's kind of they're not complex to a point that it just like these things that should matter don't. Like,
actually, you know what I'm starting to think is like, you know, and throughout this movie, I am like often going back and forth, like admiring some of their qualities, but then they'll do something that I don't agree with, and then and say stuff I wouldn't like an admirable person to say, and so really when I think about that's like what real people are like. You know, you can't easily put your finger on what you definitively think about people. Like I think, you know, real people are really complex. So like I'm actually thinking that's not a bad thing the more I think about it.
mm.
Yeah, that's probably the main reason people didn't really like Iron Man 3 when it came out, because Shane Black's style was so quirky and different for the Marvel cinematic universe at that time. Everyone was just like, this film sucks, it's ruined all these characters I like, and it's converted and subverted so much stuff, I don't like it, blah, blah. So many fanboys were so up in arms about it, and even though at the time, like I remember me, Rob and Pet were like, yeah, we really like Iron Man 3, it's the most interesting one of the trilogy. So it's like, oh, he's trying to do something a bit different and unexpected, and pull the rug from everyone thinking they're going to expect one thing, but it does a different thing. And that it did a few risks, especially for films of Marvel was doing back then. So that just was like a perfect example where a Shane Black joint, as you might say, doing something different and trying to kind of like not do the most conventional thing, because what is the point hiring Shane Black if he's just going to do another run of Marvel sequel? You get someone good that's going to make it worth talking about. And it's proven once again that he can do very original movies.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, I think Iron Man 3 is probably still my favourite Marvel film because it tries to do something a bit original, and I think that kind of humour in Iron Man 3, like, it really worked for me because you had it kind of like contrasting with like an Iron Man who'd seen so much that he was just in like this mental state where he couldn't comprehend what his life had become. And I think if you I think having that on one side and then the Mandarin on the other side just being this kind of like really eccentric sort of actor rather than the terrorist who everyone thinks he is, I thought it was just a really good idea, and I really liked how it was paid off. And yeah, I think that kind of humour really works for me, like most of the time. I think maybe where I sort of disconnected with this a little bit is because, like, so it's something that you sort of mentioned a little bit earlier, Ben, about it reminding you of like Quentin Tarantino, because I think around this time there was a few films. So there was like this. I can't remember the name of it. The film that Alec picked.
Bad Times at the El Royale.
Yeah, Bad Times at the El Royale. That's it. Yeah. So there was like these two and like a couple of others, and it was films that were like very obviously inspired by Quentin Tarantino. And I think what it is like, so one of the things that I feel like they took from Quentin Tarantino is that like that style of like really sort of stylized dialogue. And
yeah,
I really like Quentin Tarantino, but it sort of grates on me a little bit with him as well, because it's like every character's talking and I'm like, all I can hear is Quentin Tarantino. and I think
distinct voice.
Yeah, and I think I had a similar thing with this. It was like, I can hear the writer too much. Especially in that scene, you know, when they're having a fight and Russell Crowe says something like, oh, we're going to play a game where you shut up and I talk, or something like that. And I was like, stop it, I can hear you writing.
Yeah, there's a fine line of really creative writing. You have to kind of like, you want it to be original, you want it to be snappy, you want it to be like a memorable, funny, whatever, but you can't overdo it, that you're kind of aware it's written. You have to kind of write in a way that it's just natural to what the characters are thinking and saying. It has to be kind of like seamless, and you're not thinking about how well it's written or how not well it's written. It has to be like, yeah, this is X character, and that's the key point. And that Shane Black is a brilliant writer, and Tarantino is a brilliant writer too. They're both great at their field, but the fact that the more films they've done, they kind of had the style that you kind of pick up on, and it kind of helps leak out a bit. And when they go full whack, and it's hard to kind of not unhear their voice, for better or worse, and they can come off a bit like, it's very over the top Tarantino, it's very over the top Shane Black kind of thing.
Yeah. And I think the thing is as well, like, it does kind of, like, I can see why, because it's, you know, if you want to make an homage to like those old pulp comics, then like that was their style. So it's like, it's not necessarily like a criticism against like either of them really, but it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like like my ear kind of like tunes to it a bit too much.
Yeah.
It comes, I guess it comes down to just like a taste preference, and it's not my
Oh yeah.
cup of tea
Yeah.
either. I think I'd rather lines, like written lines, dialogue and all that stuff, ring like, they're just saying it off the top of their head, like authentically in the moment, and not so.
Yeah. Whether or not it's ad libbed, kind of like if they were just doing something that was unscripted. Maybe they did this in the film. I'm not sure. I don't think they did. But some cases, sometimes the best memorable lines, the ones that are kind of like improvised.
Yeah.
Because the characters, or the actors, sorry, are so into their characters because, they've read the script back to front and they're so into it and understand them so well, they can get in their mindset and just talk in their voice, and whatever they say is authentic because they know the character inside out, and that's just good direction and good screenwriting that gets the actors to get to that point. And they have to be great actors as well. So everyone has to be on the top of their game for them to get to that point where they can improvise to a way that's authentic to what the director writer wanted. And so that matches like the once in a lifetime kind of like needle and haystack moment where it's just perfect as the stars aligned and it's, lightning in the bolt.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's also like one of the reasons that I liked the Terminator so much when I first saw it, because I was kind of going like, oh yeah, I can appreciate a catchphrase now. It's a robot.
That's it. So we was last year. They figured there to the better time. Yeah, we are pretty.
What can we say?
I think that's coming from Pat. Pat, are you listening to something?
Oh shit! Sorry.
He's watching the games. What can I say? What I found interesting about this film is kind of like, obviously when we mentioned before about it being set in the 70s, obviously allows it to do a lot of things that aren't kind of like very acceptable for now, this generation we live in, and the here and now. It, like the parts what I did find shocking, I was like, I can't believe remember the first case that they do, and basically there was that guy with a 13-year-old girl, and he had to just like send the message to rough him up because it's a 13-year-old girl and he's a 40-year-old man or something. And it's like, Jesus Christ, that's 77 and that was going on. And it kind of was a bit icky as well when it going forward when I forget her character's name, the daughter of Ryan Gosling, and she's going and sneaking off and going to the club, whatever the party it was in the suburbs of Burbank, and she's kind of like surrounded by porn stars and all this crazy drug taking, alcohol drinking people that are very bad influence and stuff. But she's quite level-headed. She's quite mature for her age, but still, was the fact that she still was there to do it. I'm glad that kind of it could have, a different director could have made that more of a thing than it was, and I don't know if it would have been better or worse to draw more attention to it. And maybe they shouldn't have included it or not, but it's still interesting that it could have gone south.
I think
I could say.
I think this was made like 2016, right? So it was almost 10 years ago. So since you brought it up, it's like not my favorite part of this movie at all, because there's those two things you mentioned, and also the fact that I think he went a bit too ick level for me when she was at the house. There was a guest there, a party person showing her actual pornography. Like that was.
Oh yeah, I forgot that. And she's just like, "What are you talking about? What is this? I'm in it," kind of thing. And this is like, okay, why? Yeah.
So that was.
So I don't know.
And also just if this is a one-off thing, but there's a third scene that gave me the ick too. Like why? I don't think I do have to just question why 3 times over the course of the movie you have like children and sexuality so closely entwined. There was that
Hmm.
scene with the kid who's riding past the burnt house on a bike, and he talks about like
Oh yeah, that was
kill
weird.
himself, right, for money. I'm just like, ew. Like
Yeah,
my whole thing is just like, yeah, the era and then pornography is a huge
yeah, they did comment on that, but it's kind of like, but why?
like, yeah,
Maybe,
why 3 times
yeah.
is like questionable. And so
So I'm glad those things weren't dwelled on more, in my opinion. But it's just, I thought it was quite interesting that they were kind of brought up and they were part of the story. Because aside from those things, take those out, it's quite a wholesome father-daughter relationship. Gosling and what's her name, Hat. That's fairly okay. But the fact that obviously he doesn't want her there, he tries to send her back, but in the cab, but she still goes back. So that's all on her. But at the same time, it's kind of, he was wasted so much of this film. He was so out of it.
there's four. It
Yeah.
starts off with a young boy with a nudie mag, and then he sees
Yeah,
this
yeah.
woman
If you
who's
count
a
that.
porn star. See, that's just creepy to me, and it's
Mm.
suspicious. Honestly, I don't want to. Like, I know this is like, if this was a private conversation, I would say more, to be honest. But just like, I'm not a fan. Like, is it necessary? Like, why?
I mean, I think it's for the sake of the movie. I think it's just the attitude towards like sex during the 70s is what he was trying to portray.
Yeah.
But like, if you because like with obviously the modern views of the modern like audience looking back at it now, you go, yeah, as you said, it was a bit icky, just a bit too icky. But like, that's why at least at the beginning he took off his shirt to cover, because like,
There was a bit
like,
you can see there.
yeah, it was like, yeah, let's be polite. It's not. I mean, like, sure, I was looking at a magazine, but this is a real person. Let's treat her like a real person, at least, it's fine. But I think the 70s was just about all of that stuff. But like, yeah, it's just like,
certainly parts of Hollywood are there very much to that.
It must have been like an important commentary, I feel like, to just like show the like inappropriate back then of like the lack of boundaries between children and sex, And like, in fairness, like Ryan Gosling's character was like really disturbed by that young kid and how he talked,
Yeah.
So that's,
he pointed it out and he thought it was really kind of weird and messed up, didn't he? Yeah. Because like, yeah, what was he talking like this? Jesus Christ. But yeah, that's why I think it's good in a way that he did set in the 70s, because yeah, he can't make a film like this in contemporary LA without raising even more flags. It just doesn't work. But the fact that films like Boogie Nights and a lot of 70s exploitation movies exist for this to kind of draw a parallel with, it's just, yeah, I think that's kind of the thing. You have to be aware of like the history of how this film was made and probably what Shane Black grew up watching. And as Tarantino was watching, he watched all these crazy films in sleazy movie theaters of that time when he was perfect. He was seeing films way too young than they both were when they should have, when they shouldn't be. So he's probably weaving that into the narrative some way.
He definitely, it's a very noticeable thread now that I think about it. Like at first, I was like recognizing that I was being repeatedly uncomfortable. I'm like, ew, why is such a significant part of this movie? It's a serious, real problem that continues to this day, and I understand that like why a director would want to communicate that, but I just think it's kind of weirdly disproportionate to like other things going on in the movie. Like I think it's quite a serious thread, and it's kind of just like really just like really a small part of the story, and it's just it's weird. It's weirdly treated to me. Like, yeah. So I understand why it would be part of a movie. I just think the way it was proportionate to the rest of the story is just weird to me.
Yeah, it does feel like a bit of a sort of, I don't know, Like I can see why it would be included, but it does feel like a weird inclusion when you're trying to make like a pulpy comedy. Like it's
a comedy action type film. It's like, yeah, because even if the stuff kind of happens, it's still. Are you trying to make a serious film, or are you trying to make just a kind of funny, laugh it off film?
Yeah.
And like you were saying with before with the house burnt down kind of thing, like at least on one level, I was like, okay, at least I can understand a bit more why this character is kind of like he is. Like he's a bad father, but he also is probably dealing with a lot of depression and trying to hold it together. Like we don't know how long ago the house burnt down. Obviously, it's been long enough that it's been cleared up, and there's like new turf and stuff there. But and they're trying to live close. He's trying to live close by, and got these lofty dreams. But anyway, I was gonna say some of my problems. So Ben mentioned the first scene. I was like, wait, he only punched him in the face once. He didn't properly beat him up, which is what I was expecting. But later, he breaks Ryan's arm. And I'm just like, wait, you break this guy's arm, and we know you can truly like beat the crap out of people, and you just punch this guy in the face once. What?
Yeah, he deserved more than that, didn't he?
I love how you delivered that introduction, by the way. Here are some problems I had. The first scene.
It's just like what?
To be fair, second scene.
Yeah.
It's really, but if anybody deserves to have a broken arm, it's that first guy. Dang.
Yeah, he's the one that should have been wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt really strange. Like, okay.
Was there anything that could have happened between scenes that maybe they just didn't show us?
I don't think so much with that first part anyway. I mean, obviously, does anyone know if there's like missing scenes?
Oh, I don't know.
But
No, I don't know.
And that burp wasn't me, by the way. I heard that. And I saw Simon look. So I just wanted to say that was.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh man. But yeah. So after that, I'm gonna jump around a bit, but the scene at the last kind of Amelia's mother's scene, where she talks about, oh, if you take Detroit, it's just going to be another. And I was just like, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to be like, are you trying to say like you're like Kingpin or something? I don't know. Like you've got a foot in the legal world, but also the kind of underworld, and also the big kind of lobbying private companies, and you're trying to keep the balance of them. I don't understand what this line is. Like I don't get what you're trying to say. And it's like it feels like the scene's missing. For that line to be delivered in that way, it feels like we're meant to get it. And I'm just like, before you said this, I kind of roughly put together what happened. Like, she's just doing her job, what she's been told. There's people above her that told her, look, you need to let the automotive companies win, because they are some big lobbying private companies that support, that have some good deals with people above you in the government, just like how you have Trump. If he's got a lot of those kind of people in his pocket. And it's unfortunately, it's not a strange thing for private companies to hire hitmen. eBay has even done it and been caught out for it. So these private companies that are in like some really tight, close deals, very high up in government, that they suddenly, this girl, Amelia, has evidence that, okay, she's filmed evidence of her mom, of the black lady, and some other people who were in on the collusion, the collusion that they're gonna, make it so these automotives can win the case. And for whatever reason, her kind of Amelia's smart way of doing all of this is to put it in an artistic nudie film. Automotive show. Okay, cool. So I get that. What the crap are you talking about, Detroit? This line seems so left field. I was just like, this line wasn't needed. You could not have said that, and I would have been cool. But now you said that, I'm thinking, was something cut out? No, I don't get this. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Sorry. It has a bit of a long one. And we can come back to it. Oh, they actually commented on it now. Sorry.
Well, I'm confused about, like, I remember being confused about, was it like her mother that was part of organizing the hits on killing all those people? Like, I was confused about whether the mother like actually was trying to kill her or not.
No, I think the mother was trying to kill all the other people, but she purposely tried to hire those two to keep the daughter safe. So it's probably a mix of people that... It was the old dude with like the two bodyguards, I think, was like the person that was trying to kill everyone. Yeah. Because he was the guy who was like leader of like Cadillac, I think it was. I can't remember.
Also, if you remember that they talked about when Russell Crowe said perspective, and when he said that, it kind of got me thinking differently. Like, I don't think the mother was responsible for killing all those people or having those hitmen kill lots of people. But from the daughter's point of view, she was, because the daughter caught some stuff on film, but the daughter doesn't understand. And while she's acting her age, it's still freaking annoying and also kind of like unhinged. The daughter thinks that, oh, it's the mom who's doing all this and blah blah. No, the mom has a part to play in the court case. She's been told to let them win, but she also knows the people involved are going to do whatever it takes to silence people. So she's hired these two guys to protect her daughter. But her daughter just thinks, oh, you're in on it. And so that must mean you're trying to kill me. She's like, no, no, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm trying to keep you safe.
Yeah, but like, she knows that her mother can't be trusted anyway, and that's why, there's the smoke killing the birds, and like, it's like, I feel like, but that also plays into like that 70s stereotype about conspiracy theory people and conspiracy theory nuts, I guess.
Well,
it's like, it
makes you... Sorry, you finish your thought?
Oh, no, I was going to say, it makes sense for that character because that's what she has it in her mind, this is all conspiracy. That's why they had to kill Dean. Like, I kind of understood her thought process. They killed Dean, they killed the director, she's on the run for her life, so she thinks the mum is very much a part of the people who's going to kill her, probably.
I mean, it's a big leap to make, too. It makes me wonder, about what their relationship was like before. Like, how do you
Yeah.
end up thinking that your own mother is trying to kill you? Like, I get having suspicion about her because she realizes her mother doesn't have very much integrity and is willing to just like at least be part of like a big cover up that has like a huge and negative environmental impact. So I get a daughter being suspicious of her mother's character, but yeah, that's really strange, and I it does make me curious. Like, how does somebody eventually fully believe that their own mother is trying to kill them? That's yeah.
Yeah, it's a here's the thing, and so you got all that, and as another kind of thing, I kind of not that I had issue with it, but we weren't given reasons. So to explain it, so Ryan's daughter has a very strong moral code to like for people not to but not to kill, even if they were just trying to kill you, and they will probably try and kill you in the future. Not only will you advocate not for them not to be killed, but you will also try to help them and get them medical attention, which is a very kind of like almost like Superman kind of like moral, just like objection to any kind of killing. But unlike in this film, it in while the first Henry Cavill Superman, it has its problems. One of the things I liked what they did in there is they gave Superman a reason for not wanting to kill in the future. They gave him a trauma to try and make sense of the fact that okay, yeah, he doesn't want to kill from this point on. Like this has really traumatized him. This girl, on the other hand, she's not like Jessica. Of course, she's seen a lot. She knows a lot. She's unfortunately had to grow up faster. Been exposed to things she shouldn't have been. Yet, even when someone's trying to kill her, she so strongly wants to help them not die. And why, while I have, like, I would have no problem with her not wanting to kill someone herself. Like, you're kids. Like, I'm not expecting that. But I'm kind of expecting her to be like, you know what, I'm not going to stay here for this, or I'm going to look the other way because I don't like this. Because at the same time, she is willing to do whatever it takes and do whatever violence it takes to protect, whether it be herself or the people she cares about, which could accidentally end up in people dying. I mean, I don't know if that's going through her head because of her age, but it's like all of that together. And I'm just like, so why are you so opposed?
Mm.
It's not explained.
Do
And I'm
you
just like, go ahead.
um so this is actually something that bothers me sometimes in movies where uh like a child, I get how children are more innocent and they're more naive and they have like more like fantastical ideals about humanity and humans, and so that's why, since they're so naive and since there's so much they're unaware of, I actually am not a fan of when the story allows the sole opinion of like a child to have huge consequence. I don't because I don't it doesn't make sense to me for a child to be deciding huge. Oh, you're on mute, Emmanuel.
Sorry, can you say that again? Camilla's AirPods connected.
Oh,
And soon as I just connected you. Okay. What you don't like after the ideals, carry on. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, no worries. So, like, what I am not a fan of is when in a story, a huge decision is left down to a child to make, and their feeling regarding how they feel about something and their ideals. And it bothers me
Mm.
because they're naive and they have really nice innocent view of humanity, and they see the good in people often, more often than not. And I don't think a huge consequential decision should be made by one child. I just fundamentally disagree with that. I don't think that's very logical. And this comes up in one of the Jurassic Park movies, which I'll mention. But I mean, you guys already know what I'm talking about. But so it bothered me that like I think it's sweet. Like this girl wants to avoid killing people. That's actually great. I'm not a huge fan of killing people either. But I am a fan of making sure that dangerous people are not free ranging around to kill again. Just at least let me see you tie up that guy then, John Boy. Like he just punches him out and then leaves him. I'm like, well, he's gonna wake up. Like, are we making sure he's gonna be locked up somewhere? Stuff like that bothers me. So um, and then what that reminded me of when she's like, "No, don't kill him." I'm like, some people it would be the worst if they died. To be honest, if I'm being honest, they've done enough harm, and they'll do, and what they're gonna do a lot of harm. Like, I don't believe in capital punishment, but that's a whole other conversation. But
this is like a hitman is actually trying to kill you and will try again.
Yeah.
Like, I would just be like, you can thank me in 10 years when this guy is not around to come to try and kill you again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Please, you can go and look away. You don't have to stay here. But no.
Yeah.
It's
like the adult is gonna decide about this big stuff right now. And the Jurassic Park one is when it's a very has everybody seen all the new Jurassic Parks? Yeah.
I think most of them.
Which movie are you talking about?
It's the one where the old man cloned his daughter.
Oh yeah, the Dominion. I think we all had that sort of similar conversation. I remember. I think me, Pat, Rob, and Rachel went to see it when it came out in 4DX, and we had a fun time. But yeah, that point in the story was like, wait, really? We're going to let this girl decide the fate of the humanity and the rest of the world? Literally, release all the dinosaurs into the populace. No consequence, just because she thinks that's the right thing to do.
I did not. I was frustrated. I'm like, wow. Okay, I get it.
And she's what, 9 or 10 years old as well.
Yeah, come on, I was so frustrated. That is gonna unleash how many people are gonna die. And I get it. It's a life is a life. Those dinosaurs are gonna suffer. But it's just
there had to be a better way. There had to be look, we can work this out together. We can figure out a place for them to keep them safe from humanity, from poachers, from whatever, without endangering other people. We can do this as a team because we're great. Blah, blah, blah. We'll figure it out in the sequel. Blah, blah, blah. That's what we'll do. That's the point of the second film. Well, the fake sequel should have been.
Wasn't the difficult decision though? If she hadn't let them go free, they would have immediately all died, gotten gassed or something.
Well, I can't remember very well. I think you're right.
They were in the room, and essentially those were the last set of dinosaurs, and they're like, just let them die. Then the franchise is over. But they had to let the girl press the button to continue the franchise to the point where we have more Marvel stars becoming dinosaur hunters. Soon we're going to have Chris Pratt as dinosaur hunter. We already got it sounds like we're going to have Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth. Got all the Chris's as dinosaur hunters.
Give them time.
room full of adults let the little kid make that decision, and that frustrates me. Don't like it.
Yeah, it's not quite the film that needed to do that for. I know there are some films that probably you can get away with that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I know that this isn't one of them. That wasn't one. That's another conversation, obviously, because we're not talking about Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, but still, it is an interesting topic. Yeah, kids should have a say in how things are, but at the same time, in a world that's drastically similar to our own world, might not be exactly the same, but if it's very much rooted in what we are as we live and breathe right now, then they should abide by the rules of this world and how, yeah, you kind of have responsibility to teach these kids this is the best way to go about it, kind of thing. It's not like we're in this Mad Max utopian where kids rule and adults are kind of like
What are the flies?
going off. Yeah, it's not Lord of the Flies, for instance.
See, like,
It's yeah.
oh, and what I'm not saying that like kids don't have valuable things they think, and they could teach us things. Like that's not what I'm saying is that like
Yeah.
for certain big, huge, consequential decisions, leave it to the brains that have fully formed.
However, if like the kid was next to a Trump supporter or Donald Trump himself, then I'd be like, yeah, I think they have every right to kind of lead the way here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, Jack had a thing about this film about very much about Film Club. They always talking about Hitler and Nazis. We always talk about that during the time so it's like I felt like, all right, yeah, I connected with them during that particular conversation because, like, I feel like, yeah, you always there's someone, won't mention who, always compares someone to someone else, and it's like, yeah, that's why the Nazis were popular. I was like, yeah, you guys keep saying the same phrase all the time. It's like, but it just pops up. It just so naturally pops up, and it's just like, yeah,
that was hilarious.
Very true.
I thought of two people when Ryan Gosling mentioned that. Yeah, the camaraderie of Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling was so good. It was just because it was so realistic and kind of just reminded me of like, yeah, us lot just having a banter. That's how you kind of have to. That's how good that their acting was. It kind of the natural chemistry came through because you can tell that they were just mates, but they bickered, fell out. But at the end of the day, had each other's backs.
Yeah. Was Ryan Gosling actually speaking? It sounded like he was speaking German. Was he?
When?
In the scene when, like, at the end when they're having that conversation with Kate. What's Basinger?
I think he was pretending to speak German.
Yeah, you're right. When he spoke to Kim Basinger, you're right. He was. Yeah.
That was actual German?
I don't know if it was, but he probably just had the dialect coach.
Yeah, because it sounded. I don't know any. I barely know any German, so like I
Schnitzel.
Schnitzel.
Krummen Brachen.
Okay, Ben, how much German stuff do you know? That's part of your heritage.
As much as you do, I think.
Do you know what I just learned was I didn't know Black Forest cake was German. I didn't know that.
Oh, was it? Oh.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah.
No.
What? Oh, wait. Did you say? Did you say Black Forest Gâteau, right?
Black Forest.
Yeah. It's the one with the cherries. Yeah, I only know that because I know that the Black Forest is next to Germany. I was like, oh, that's probably where the name came from. Well, it's what I'm thinking. Like, yeah.
Place. Interesting.
It's his actual
Yeah.
place. Isn't it in Germany? I thought the Black Forest was in Germany. Oh, is it next?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, wait, no. I'm thinking, yeah, because like the border is because the Black Forest is goddamn massive, right? So because like the amount of like shrubbery and like what was it, shrubbery? The amount of like trees that in that area. I don't know. I was thinking like where did the border cut? But I was like, no, it's technically in Germany, right? Yeah.
Oh, so it's in multiple countries then. It sounds like.
Because like technically, because like it spreads out, because like it's the mountainous areas. It's kind of like where you go. It's kind of like drawing the borders of Switzerland. You go, okay, but does this mountain cut onto this side, and then does that border go onto there? I don't like know the geography on it because I couldn't draw it. It's a O, but like with a squiggly line on the bottom there, and it's like you can't really draw borders. It's hard for me because like I can't.
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't.
My European geography is horrible. Well, it's hard. All those countries are so tiny. It's hard.
Oh yeah, it's kind of asking like where Liechtenstein is, and it's like, oh fucking hell.
No, that's unique. Not many people are gonna like.
Yeah, but like, could you point out where Liechtenstein is on a map? If I gave you a whole map of just Europe, could you do it? I was like, I think it's the little section here. I'm not sure. So it's just like, yeah.
Exactly. That's the.
It's a country, like yeah.
That's the point. It's such a small country. It's kind of unfair to me to even ask someone. Can you point it out? No.
No.
So I just about know it exists.
Yes. But anyways, so I think actually, is it daylight savings now? Because I don't know what time it is currently.
It will be at 1 o'clock. Won't be one. It'll be like 2, I think.
Oh, okay.
Our
So-
daylight savings happened 3 weeks apart. I didn't realize it was so far apart before. Yeah.
It happens, but so I think because it's nearly 1 or nearly 2 now, we should probably go on to favorite scenes, and I think we've lost Rob and Pat. Yeah.
Shotgun, my favorite scene.
I'm still here.
Okay, cool. Okay, then if you shotgunned, go for it.
Yeah, my favorite scene is when I forget their character names. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling meet properly for the first time in the bathroom cubicle, and Gosling is just on the toilet having a fag reading a magazine, and he holds a gun to him, and the door keeps just slamming in his face, but he still wants to see him, and he's like, "Yeah, I need to put my pants up," but he doesn't want the door to shut, but it keeps slamming back. It just was hilarious in multiple levels, I think.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah. Ryan Gosling killed it in this. He was just so funny. I think, okay, let me see. What? Yeah, I have multiple. I have to pick my favorite. Oh, do you know what? I'll mention my first. It was just more of a line, okay? And it made me think of you guys because maybe you knew what he was talking about. He said it was very early in the beginning. He said it was he said his wife said something was like rumpy pumpy, and he's like, I don't know what that means. She was English, so.
Yeah, it was rumpy pumpy. Yeah, it was just like getting it on.
Yeah, that's my favorite. You guys have some funny slang. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, but yeah, another favorite line I'll just do 2 favorite lines for now. Is when they're trying to get rid of the guy that was shot in the face, the head, because they didn't want him to think it was he did it. And so, but they're both so like disgusted and like nauseated by the like bloody dead body. And so like Russell Crowe, he goes, I got a plan. We throw up and then we throw away the body. Or something like that. It's just really funny.
Oh, that reminds me of when Ryan Gosling tried to smash into the building, and he broke the glass, and he cut his hand open, and he's like,
Christ, yeah, that was such.
That's a proper Rob moment. That you just.
He's like,
yeah,
that's a lot of blood.
That's a lot, and then he passes out, and he's in the ambulance the next scene, and then he's in hospital. But yeah, they're brilliant.
I think. Let me have a quick check on my notes.
Camillus is probably I don't know if it would be this one for definite, but it probably was when Earth, Wind, and Fire came out on the stage.
Oh yeah, that was really them, wasn't it?
Well, no, it
I mean,
looked like them.
I don't think it was them, but it was people who, because the real guys would be real old.
I thought they de-aged them for some reason, but you're probably right. Maybe it was like some of them were like de-aged or some of them, like lookalikes. But I need to look into that.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they made the effort to just like have the lookalikes. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, hers is probably that. Otherwise, I'm trying to think of my own.
Okay, I have like my favorite scenes, or more precisely, the continuations of scenes that makes it funny. It's where Ryan Gosling is like having that weird like dream when he's driving, and afterwards he's like, I was smoking. And it's like, then afterwards the bee appeared for him. I thought, what? Wait, what? Did this turn into really like? I don't know if it was like a weird like artistic choice because he got high somehow, or was like what? No, it's just streaming. And afterwards, like he crashes the car, and afterwards the thing's like, oh shit. Okay, I understand that I must have been dreaming because there's a giant bee. Cuts into the section where like you have the lady who's pointing the gun at and goes, it's like knock knock knock. Housekeeping. Oh, she turns her head, jumps to the floor, try and go. Where's your ankle gun? Where's your ankle gun? What the fuck do you mean an ankle gun? I don't have an ankle gun. I was like, where did you sit? When did I say I had an ankle gun? Yeah, you said it in the car when I was driving. Oh, fuck. It was like, that was such a point of like, it makes sense that he could have an ankle gun, but it's like, I never said this. Did you dream this up? Yeah, I feel I dreamed this up. Did you dream up? I also had like a laser gun or something. It's like, you know, it's so perfect because absolutely it made sense that he would go for the ankle gun to shoot her, but it obviously doesn't make sense because he obviously just dreamt up. And I was like, you're still asleep. This fucking guy here. It was so perfect. The comedy for that was so perfect because like it made so much sense. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
That was a completely fair mistake because he could easily have actually had an ankle gun. I completely understand how he mixed up reality with dream. And what made it even funnier is like he was like really going up his pant leg looking for it.
Yeah, that was so good. There's the whole lead up to that as well. Obviously, where they're just in the car, and then he dreams just chatting to him, and then it just go a bit weird, and then there's the talking bee behind him, and it's just like, what's going on? And then they crash. And obviously the little callback when he sees the bee at the end, and he's like.
That was funny. I love how they brought that back. That was funny. It was a good one. That was really random how they like brought in a gigantic bee in the back seat. That was weird.
I feel like it's a metaphor for something because. Oh wait, no, I know. I remember because they keep saying the birds. Yeah, for the birds, and it's like for the bees as well. Probably that's what it is.
Birds and the bees.
That's probably what the reference is. But I was like,
blew my mind. That completely ties in with the whole, unfortunately, with the whole child sexuality because that's how kids are taught about sex.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
birds and the bees.
Yeah, that's I realized that now myself.
My mind's blown. That's a level.
Yeah, Shane Black, the Mad Lad.
Wow. That's a huge theme of this movie. Wow, very interesting. Very interesting.
I'm not sure it's my favorite, but there was a part where the part when they're chasing after the film reel, and it's just this crazy sequence one after another. After Russell Crowe says, "I thought I told you to go up to the roof. Wait, did you fall?" He's like, "Yeah." He doesn't even try and hide it this time. Because that was mad itself. Like the guy next to him splattered and he was in the pool. Then he's chasing the film reel. He then, I'm trying to think, he smashes through one window or whatever. It's like, oh, let me try and grab it. Then he falls through another glass kind of ceiling, falls in a car. And then afterwards, he gets hit by a car just a little bit. And then that kind of helps him get closer to the person who took the film. It's just a crazy sequence. I'm just like, this is mad. Just all of this is mad.
Yep. And I only got.
You want to go ahead?
No, you go.
I was gonna say that was such a crazy, gross, but a little bit funny visual to see him like splash in the pool, but Keith Richards like splat. He looked like a meatball.
Yeah. Then afterwards, he has that quick adrenaline rush with Richard Nixon. Then it's like, yeah. I was like,
oh yeah, that was so. Oh man.
He's like, no, Nixon.
Yeah. Because he's just thinking this is the last thing I'll see. No, not that story.
Yeah. Like Nixon is like the Grim Reaper or something.
Yeah. Oh man. So random.
Oh, one I loved Ryan Gosling's like, well, the poor guy, he just got his arm broken, right? And his like high pitched scream that like went up at the end. It was really funny. It like ended in like this like whimpering crying sounds. It's really funny.
Yeah. Oh man. So much madness going on. Especially at the end.
Yeah.
It just got ramped up.
Good stuff.
Mhm.
I think did everybody who's left in the call did favorite scenes?
Wait, Pat?
I'm still trying to
Yes.
think.
Oh, okay.
Because
I was just going to say the one that Ben said at first is probably one of my favourites. And the film reel chasing after that was pretty wacky. But I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah. That was wild. I just in the film reel scene running after it, I was reminded about John Boy. And I've heard that name mentioned in other movies before, and I've heard of, is it called the Waltons? I think it is. This like John Boy is a character in this TV show, old TV show, maybe from the 70s, called the Waltons, and nobody else knows what I'm talking about?
Nah.
Okay.
I've heard it mentioned in Die Hard.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've heard the name John Boy come up. It's like yeah, this show The Waltons has come up in like pop culture to me a couple times now, so I was just wondering. I've never seen it.
Yeah, same.
Well, I think we're all wrapped up. Oh, who's next?
Yeah.
Rachel.
Oh, Pooey.
Yeah. So, what's your next film, Rachel? And she's like,
You'll find out tomorrow morning.
It's a Hercules. Yeah, I love Hercules. That's the next movie. Yeah, awesome choice, Rachel. That's going to be great. Do that. Huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, yeah, you got to be careful. You got to choose the Dwayne The Rock Johnson one.
Oh no, that would ruin it all. But Pat would do that to me if that was Pat's pick. He'd troll me because he likes that film.
I do like.
Wait.
Oh, you
what?
did? Oh, okay, I haven't watched it, but like I've heard not good things, so maybe not. Okay.
Yeah, that
So-
was known for being in like spectacular movies.
mean, like-
You're saying that he's in a movie as Hercules? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not Disney affiliated Hercules.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's neither of those films, so Rachel will tell us where it is tomorrow.
Oh, I'm very curious. Well, I'm looking forward to that. All right. Well, thanks everyone. That was a fun chat.
Indeed, so we made it to 2:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah, it has jumped to 2:00 now. Has it? Fuck. Oh Christ.
So yeah,
And
you
you guys-
lost an hour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, speak to you guys next week.
All right.
Take care.
I will be back
Yeah.
again.
See you soon, Pat. Bye.
No, yeah.